Welcome everyone to the 50th episode of Horror's Ball. I appreciate you joining me today. Really cool. When I started this about 4 years ago, never expected to still be doing it. I just wanted to. There's no horror shows out there of just talking horror and trying to be informative, but also entertaining and do some comedy in there as well, and the fact that some of you out there have enjoyed that is really cool. But yeah, I just never expected it to last this long, and I doubt I'll get to 100 episodes. I guess we'll see. Never say never, but I'll keep, as long as there's people out there that still give a shit that I do this. I guess, and as long as I enjoy doing this, if it ever becomes a chore or just not fun, and that's when I'll stop. But anyway, I just want to say thank you to everyone out there, whether you've been watching since the early days or recently you've discovered the show. Just a huge thank you to all of you for the support. Over the years, because of the show, I've met so many awesome people, some of which I've become very close friends with. So it's just been awesome. It's been a lot of fun. And thank you all so much for watching and taking time to watch and supporting. You've seen some clips throughout the month of our little party we had at Lucio Finch's house, celebrating Italian horror, but also celebrating this 50th episode. So that was a lot of fun. But I hope you've enjoyed this month. This is the final show of Italian Horror Month. Stick around. Really, what this is about, it's for all you. This is really for the die-hard Italian horror fans out there. Particularly the ones like me who just are just always trying to search for even more Italian horror films, because of course it's such a vast catalog, and even the fact that I've been into it for so many years, I'm still looking and discovering either new films that I'm unaware of or just ones that I had trouble tracking down. And that's really what this episode is all about, and hopefully in turn maybe turning some of you onto some films that you were either unaware of or you've forgotten about. Some of these on this list are well-known films to the astute Italian horror fan out there, which I'm sure many of you are. But there's probably some titles that maybe can surprise you or will pique your interest to go after. And of course, all these titles fit under the category of just fucking buy it for any Italian diehards out there. So this is going to be the top 30 overlooked, underrated, and or obscure Italian horror. I could have easily done, I was going to do 40 at first. Could have easily done 50, but tried to do a good mix of films that are known but I still feel are underrated, and then of course some throwing in some really obscure stuff too. So hope you enjoyed this list. Again, thank you all so much for all the support over these years. 50th episode, and this is really for all the die-hard Italian horror fans out there. Hopefully there's something on this list that'll get you excited and want to pick it up. So check it out. Stick around. Alright everybody, let's do this. Top 30 films here. And obviously this is not, it's not going to be any Argento films in here. Fulci, Mario Bava. These are more the, as the title says. So you're not going to see stuff that, we all consider classics. Even some of the more, mid-range, cheesy classics like Nightmare City, Burial Ground, stuff like that, Rats. We all love those films. And I'm sure there's plenty in this pile that you guys love too, but wanted to just mix it up with some, stuff that obviously fits the heading to this episode and theme. There are some, that definitely I wanted to keep it tight down to 30. I was going to do 40 at first. A couple Lenzi ones, Spasmo, Eyeball. There's a lot. Mill of the Stone Women. Stone Women. Autopsy, Red Queen Kills 7 Times, All the Colors of the Dark. I could go on and on. But anyway, let's get to it. There's, of course, plenty of films that I just couldn't squeeze into the 30. I wanted to make this pretty diverse, too. Anyway, I got, of course, I'm beginning an awesome 3-day weekend here, so I'm stoked, as is Mrs. Headbanger, which doesn't happen too often that we're both off 3 days in a row. So very awesome. This is a great way to start it off doing this this segment that I've really been excited about. This is really the segment that kind of fueled me wanting to do this Italian themed month anyway. Been doing this on Instagram actually all month. I've been posting one of these films each day on there. But in case you don't follow me on there, you get to see this nice stack of films. Of course, for this occasion, got some awesome beer. One of my favorite IPAs, Headhunter by Fatheads. They're located in Cleveland and Pittsburgh, and we hit them up at least both locations at least once a year. It's in my top 5 IPAs, no question, for all you IPA lovers out there. Chars. All right, enough banter. I'm sitting on the floor here right in front of the movie shelves. Number 30. Alright, Delirium. This is put out by Blue Underground. Directed by Renato Poselli. He also did Black Magic Right. So, I mean, if you're aware of that film, you're aware of the style. He's more... it's definitely cheesy. I don't think it's intended to be cheesy, but... you know, kind of over the top, definitely erotic side to it, sexually driven, but not, you know, to the point of like some of the Franco films that are borderline, you know, softcore porn. But I love Rita Calderoni, who's also in Black Magic Rights, just a super sexy Euro babe. It's just a crazy film. I'm going to try not to get too much in plots here. This will take forever as it is. So, I mean, if it looks like something you'd be interested in, if you haven't seen it, go look it up. But it's just definitely more on the over-the-top side. There's even a great scene where a guy who died earlier in the film ends up in a scene towards the end of the movie, which is just fucking hilarious. But it says wonderfully sick and demented, and that's exactly what it is. Outrageous film. Just very entertaining. Great for a night with beer. And, man, Rita Calderoni is such a babe. Alright. Directed by Mario Colucci. This is Something Creeping in the Dark. I apologize for the glare or anything else here. I just want to do it this way. Anyway, really cool artwork in here. Gonna say right now, some of these are bootlegs. I've said before, I don't love getting bootlegs. I only get them when I need to. Film like this hasn't had an official release, or in some cases a film that just is way out of print and way too high for me to get. But a lot of these definitely are bootlegs. And cool thing is, some of these are some decent transfers, but sometimes you just got to get whatever you can. I need to have it on my DVD shelf in a package like this. But anyway, if there's anything here that interests you, I'll let you know where I got it. Something Creeping in the Dark. Really, this stars what's his name? Giacomo Rossi Stewart, who I love in Kill Baby Kill. He's been in many other Italian horror films. Really good performance. A group of, I guess just call them like, I don't want to say elite people, but you know, they're affluent enough. They end up, their car breaks down, a bunch of them end up at this mansion, which they thought was abandoned, and of course it ends up being not abandoned, and it basically turns into a cool occult film. But it's pretty strange. It's got some strange elements, a cool jazz score, just a cool vibe to this film. It's just well done, and highly recommended, of course. Alright, next up we have The Witch. It's another bootleg here. Film I was looking for quite a while. This is black and white. Directed by Damiano Damiani. Funny name there. But basically, I mean, this is pretty much driven by these two characters, and she is just gorgeous. Rosanna Schifino, and of course Richard Johnson, who I'm a big fan of. Probably many of you are known from in the horror world. Most known for been in quite a few things, but Fulci Zombie, of course, and the classic The Haunting. This is one of my favorite performances by him. He's basically a young guy. He's a historian, and he gets this gig at this large Gothic house, and he meets this chick, and he's kind of a womanizer. He likes to play the game, and at first she's not really having it, and of course it intrigues him, and it's a very well written, witty, a lot of good banter and dialogue between these two. They have really good chemistry. Well written film, and for a while it plays off like a kind of a dark drama with with kind of like, I don't want to say comedic, but just good witty dialogue. And then the final act, spins into more of a traditional horror, and it's just fantastic. And a treat to watch these two. She's gorgeous and he's fantastic in this, and I just love the ending. Fantastic film, The Witch. Alright, next up, guys, we have Contamination .7. This is on the 4-pack that Screen Factory put out. Man, I would love for this release to get its own release. I really wish it did. I love the artwork. I know it's probably blurry, so I apologize for this bad video, but whatever. So it's filmed in Canada. Italian production, filmed in Canada, aka Creepers. I know there's a few other names. Just really fun Italian cheddar. Basically radioactive plants start harassing this small town. I love the fact that it stars Mary Sellers, who is one of my favorite Euro cinema actresses. Very cute, and she was in, great in Stage Fright, Ghost House, among other things. She'll pop up again in this list. So she's the star of it. Just awesome, really cool film. Some good practical effects here and there, particularly one scene where plants go into this guy's face. Yeah, it's just a really fun film. Cheddar filled, so if you don't like your cheesy stuff, stay away. But just really a nice 90s Italian horror gem starring Mary Sellers. Arcana, directed by Giulio Questi. Just a gem of a film. Basically, Lucia Bose, right there, who's done other work, is a really well-respected actress within, within early 70s, early 80s foreign cinema. But anyway, she plays a phony clairvoyant who, along with her son, who actually does have psychic ability. They make some money. Their father passed away years ago, and they're trying to stay afloat. And she kind of uses that to her advantage to make money. But the cool thing is, he actually is gifted, and they kind of have some conflict. But things just start to get weird, and people end up getting killed. And I think this is one of those films. The less I say, the better. Definitely more of just a really strange, quirky film. There's some truly kind of creepy moments at times, weird, as I described on my Instagram post for this film. It's not quite as surreal as Jodorowsky, and not quite as disturbing as a Lynch, but somewhere in between. And it's just if you like your Italian horror or horror in general, a little bit off, a little more weird. Like I said, not quite too surreal, but there's also some like political and social commentary, metaphors going on throughout. This film has great replay value for that reason. You kind of pick up on some of the metaphors the more you watch, the more you pay attention, and alone it's worth it for Lucia Bose's performance, who is a little bit older at this point in her career, but in my opinion she's still sexy, and it's worth it alone. And for an actress of this ilk to do this scene, I'll just say the frog scene, that's all I'll say. But I highly recommend it if you don't mind a bit more surreal, quirky, weird stuff. Directing legend Deodato makes an appearance on the list, and this is Dial Help. Again, this is a bootleg. There was a regular release of this, but it's just out of print. Had to go this route. Starring Charlotte Lewis, who you see there on the cover. Gorgeous, very hot. There's a scene in a bathtub with her. There's Suspiria, the cat. There's this hot scene in the bathtub. Anyway, basically, sum it up quickly. Like the title, it is basically about a killer phone line. Yes, it's as cheesy as it sounds, but I mean, I think what makes this really work is how straightforward and straight-faced it's played, which really makes it all the more enjoyable. And I mean, there's actually some decent atmosphere to it. She's sexy as hell, and there's one scene alone besides the bathroom scene, the bathtub scene. There's a scene, I'll just say, death by quarters, as in pocket change. So you can imagine where that goes. Not a very gory film, but just an absolute blast, and a must-have. Cool score too. The Murder Secret, directed by Mario Bianco, allegedly supervised, quote, supervised by the great Lucio Fulci. A family goes back to their, I believe this guy's aunt, who just was released from a mental institution, of course, invites the family to like this kind of rural house. They go, and of course, she's still crazy. But the cool thing about this is that it's a pretty gory film. There's some, not great gore effects, but of course, all practical and enjoyable and cool. A couple beheadings, good like face mush scene. And there's a great chainsaw scene in this, which actually Fulci later used in Nightmare Concert, or Cat in the Brain. So kind of like, it's cool because it's kind of a combination of giallo and slasher. Low budget, definitely cheesy at times, but it reeks Italian with the soundtrack and the cool gore. Just really enjoyable film with definitely a little bit of Fulci's fingerprints on it. Yeah, let's try to get it in a little bit better lighting, hopefully. Hell's Gate, Umberto Lenzi. There's a few things, I think, factors that make this be list worthy here. Number one, it's Lenzi. Two, location. Three, atmosphere and vibe. It totally feels like an Italian film. And maybe my favorite reason is it stars the great and sexy Barbara Cupisti, known from, of course, Stage Fright and The Church. Those are her two big roles. Two Soavi classics, of course. But archaeologists doing some research in some underground mines. And one of the guys who's down there ends up going missing. And all the while, some paranormal investigators come on the scene and say how it's haunted down there because it was like done underneath a haunted church, a cursed church or whatever. Of course, they begrudgingly let the paranormal investigators go down there with them as they look for their researching friend. And of course, you see that things truly are haunted and fucked up underneath the ground there. Just a really cool film. It's basically these old 16th century monks basically are down there and terrorize them. Not a really gory film. The few gore scenes that are in it are really cool. But it just has that Italian vibe to it with the score, with Cupisti being in it. It's just a really enjoyable film. Really like it. Some of these films I've watched again recently for this list just to freshen up on it, and enjoyed it even more this time around. I just always love seeing Barbara in the lead role, and this is one that doesn't get talked about very often. Just had another swig of that delicious beer, Charles. The Vampire and the Ballerina, Renato Poselli making another appearance here. Just really cool film, black and white from the 60s. A group of, obviously, as the title says, I'll call them more dancers, because there are a few dance numbers in the film, and they're not very ballet, at least what I would consider ballet. But the scenes are sexy. All the chicks are very hot in this film, and they get together at this cool, secluded. I don't want to call it a mansion, but a secluded house. And of course, there's this vampire on the loose, and he's preying on them. And it's definitely some commentary on like mores between men and women, and kind of like the sexual tension and all that, which is really cool. But it's really fun film, but well done. I mean, it's a good balance of, there's some cheese, some fun stuff, sexy stuff with the women dancing, but there's also some legitimate atmosphere and creepiness. I think the vampire looks really cool. There's a bit of a twist later on. There's a great set piece of when they go to the castle where the vampire resides. Really cool film, and honestly, this film looks great. The cinematography is borderline stunning, and it just looks at times fantastic. I absolutely love this film. Have loved it for quite a while. And this definitely needs more attention by horror fans, particularly gothic black and white horror fans out there. gonna begin to go through these hopefully quicker. Night of the Devils, great release by Raro Video, and just puts out great stuff. Blu-ray. This is a gory film. It's a strange film. Cool atmosphere, kind of trippy at times. And it's basically a play on Tolstoy's The Wordulaks, excuse me, which has of course been adapted many times in horror as well. Most notably with Black Sabbath, but really cool film. Let's see who directed it. Giorgio Ferroni. Highly recommend this release in particular. I don't know how many other releases of the film there are out there, but really cool, well acted. Again, weird. There's a gorgeous actress who I forget her name. He basically begins to go crazy after his car breaks down. He ends up in this this village and ends up at this farmhouse, and I'll just leave it at that. Very entertaining, well done film.